Hey, Connor.
Hey, Kylen.
Hey,
Want to talk
you
about it?
ready?
Let's talk
Let's
about
talk
it.
about it. I probably spiked the mic just there with that loud ass clap,
You
but
did. You did a
so
little
yeah,
bit, but it's cool. It's cool.
headphone warning.
After the
So
fact,
yeah, so here we are, back again. We're not in the same location this time.
we're so far away from each other.
We are convening through the internets, but yeah, no, apparently people actually liked the first episode of Let's Talk About It.
If nothing
So,
else, people did watch it, which was
yeah,
more
if
than I
nothing
was
else,
expecting.
yeah, no, yeah, I think we have around 50 views, which is honestly like 48 more than I was expecting personally. So, yeah, so we decided we couldn't wait until we were in person to talk about it. So
Because it would be a long time before we were in person again.
oh, God,
A couple months.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, instead of waiting months and months, we've decided to use the power of the internet to talk together. So now we're talking about it.
We're talking about it. But
Yeah.
before we talk about it, what are we drinking and what have we drunk?
Oh geez. Okay, so I have, for the most part, have been drinking ginger ale, which is gin and ginger ale mixed together, which not my favorite combination, but surprisingly effective.
Mm,
I did have a Jim Beam and Coke earlier
okay.
to finish off the last of the Jim Beam, but now I'm going strong with the ginger ale. What about you?
So just to age this, I was recording a little bit earlier today,
Hmm.
getting content on the channel, exploring
Oh,
some
you've
lore.
had a busy day today.
I did. I, that's just my life now. Busy with things that don't actually uh, involve work or anything. But yeah, I was, as I normally do, drinking during that stream, and I was drinking some Meridian Hive mead. It's a
Mm,
local brewery here in Austin. Uh,
mm.
then afterwards, because I knew we were talking about it, I took shots of two different kinds of vodka. Uh, Tito's, which is also a local Austin vodka, really good stuff. And some Pinnacle whipped cream vodka.
Wait,
With
hang on. Did you say pickle whipped cream?
Pinnacle.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck?
I don't think pickles and alcohol would be that great together. Although I haven't tried it, so I can't really knock it.
I don't think pickles and whipped cream would be good together. That's where I'm getting hung up on.
Eh.
But
And then
no.
right now, some of that whipped cream vodka went into this concoction right here, which is coffee, uh,
Coffee.
with a little unspoken registered trademark there. It is Kahlua, it is Bailey's, a little bit of whipped cream vodka, and mostly coffee. So very alcoholic,
Mm.
but it's delicious. And I like mixing my ups and downs.
So yeah, we still have a variety of alcohols left over from whenever you came to visit and we stocked up. And one of the things we have in there is Death Wish coffee vodka, which I would really love to try, but my body has a love-hate relationship with vodka. Um, like a true patriot, my body is against any sort of Russian collusion. So anytime I drink vodka, it decides to freak the fuck out, and
I
I
need
get
pure
terrible.
rainwater to
And I
feed
get
my capitalist body.
so yeah. Anytime I drink it, I get terrible hangovers, terrible bathroom issues, and really that's the only sort of well, I mean, I'm getting a little older, so alcohol is starting to have more of an effect on my body.
Are you saying that we're not spry undergrads anymore?
Oh, Connor, I hate to break the news to you, but yeah, no. But even back whenever I was a Sprite undergrad, vodka has always had that effect on me.
Hmm.
The clear liquor. So that's why I am like most time 100% whiskey, Jack and Coke, because whiskey never steers me wrong. Knock on wood. I'm getting to the age where I don't want to push my luck. After years of binge drinking, my body is finally breaking down at the ripe old age of 23. So, don't want to push my luck.
See, I thought I was that way with whiskey, but ooh, one night with a whole lot of bourbon. No, no more.
Yeah, it's so funny because they have the age where you can drink alcohol at 21, but turns out your body gets burnt out on it like 2 years later if you fucking binge drink. Oh, it's crazy.
And that's a real reason why we should lower the alcohol age.
To prevent burnout. Oh, Lord. Okay.
But we
So,
actually have something to talk about.
oh,
Let's
let's
talk
talk
about it.
about that.
So
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So most of the people who tune in for us, or at least know us on the internet, are involved with a couple of things called shit. I'm blanking on it. It's the alcohol, Critical Role,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, and other various role playing games.
Yeah, yeah.
And in order to play these games, we have to make a lot of characters. Well, you
So
don't have to make a lot of them, and that's
but we do it anyway because we get addicted.
we do.
Or at least I do.
So we're gonna do that thing that you're never supposed to do with someone that you just met, which I would say that we're doing with all of these wonderful people who are viewing us for the first time. And we're gonna talk about our OCs for I don't know, however long this is.
Oh my god, all 50 viewers just like shut their computers and decided to do something.
But more than talking about our OCs, we're just gonna talk about like character creation and what we might do or might not do during character creation, and we're obviously going to get sidetracked because we're drunk.
Oh yeah, no, see the thing is, here's our dynamic. So Connor always, and I think this is even with the first official let's talk about it in your hotel room that one night. Connor creates the
Unofficial.
agenda. He picks what we want to talk about, and then I get terribly, horribly sidetracked and get too drunk and decide to roll around on furniture. So yeah, that's our dynamic. I just want to give a quick shout out to one of the podcasts that we both follow, High Shelf Gaming.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would like to say that you're the Dave of our podcast, and I'm the Rich, 100%. You are the structure. I am the crazy, wild, sidetracked goose chase of a. The words are not coming to me, but you know what I mean.
That is such a compliment because Dave is such a great guy. He and Katrina Heather, a wonderful person, friend of both of ours. They actually had me on. They tried to get me on last night, but Discord was being a little butt. So I was on the stream for like 30 seconds. But that was a random spur of the moment thing. So yeah, High Shelf Gaming. If you haven't followed them yet, check them out.
Discord being a little butt.
Well, yeah, it's mostly my internet.
Oh no.
God, I've spoken it into existence. I hope this is fine.
Neither of us really have that much of editing skills, not to rag on you or anything, but I certainly don't.
Maybe I'll leave this in just so that we can have this conversation. And because that way I don't have to actually edit anything. But I didn't edit anything out of the last one.
Maybe we can get Ginger Benji to teach us how to edit things because he actually has knowledge on how to do that. Meanwhile, we're two idiots just pissing in the wind.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about characters for a bit. Let's at least get on this train and not derail it before we've even left.
talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Um, my lights just turned off because it's after midnight.
Oh yeah, your apartment's a smart apartment.
Alexa, turn on the office lights.
See, I thought you were just doing mood lighting. Like I was like, okay, bitch.
And she didn't do shit. So, thank you, Jeff Bezos. uh, so, Kylen, whenever you make a character, what do you start with?
Well, that is an interesting question. So, I I consider myself a nice, healthy mix between a story slash concept person
Mm-hmm.
and someone. I don't want to say min maxer because that has a negative connotation, but someone
Right.
who's interested in the mechanics as well.
Yeah.
Um, but usually when I start with a character, I usually start with, okay, what is something I haven't done yet and I would like to try? So whether that be a class, a race, just a particular fighting style, that's usually what I start with, like the class, then race, and then I'll fill in a story. Now, there are notable exceptions. The character that I created for your campaign that we haven't started yet, um, actually was a story. It was a character concept slash story first that
Mm-hmm.
I've had in my head for a long time, but I wasn't sure what class or race I wanted to assign to this character. I had a very nebulous idea, but I finally locked in on what I've told you about. And so I'm excited for that. So,
Right. And this actually might go up before we ever start that. So,
yeah, so that's why I'm trying to be vague.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so I yeah, I really go with kind of because right now I have I think maybe two or three other characters on D&D Beyond where I've filled in like the basics, just like okay, what would I be interested in playing?
Mm-hmm.
But some of them I don't even have a name for yet. It's just like this is something I would be interested in, like the actual mechanics of, of play and of combat or of, that out of combat skill stuff. And then I I'll like I'll be hit with like a bolt of inspiration and I'm like, oh, this is the backstory, and I'll go in and fill it in. But
Yeah.
that's usually where I start with. What about you?
So for me, it's actually different with every character, and I might actually
Mm.
call out a couple of characters that I'm particularly proud of for this. So Isabel. Isabel is currently the character that I'm playing in per Restart Dragon Knights. If you haven't seen that, both Kylan and I are on that. It's
Go watch that shit.
it's so fun. I keep getting surprised with what every other player does. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here being this sparkle princess, and it's wonderful.
Oh yeah, I've been a real just bag of surprises the past two episodes, which is funny because I've
You've been
been.
sitting on that for like the entire season, and it's been great.
Oh, but see, that's my thing. That's one of the things I love about D&D. Like some players during like, the formation of campaigns can be pretty open about their backstories. I love to hoard that shit for as long as possible. Co-conspire with the DM and then just drop my shit on people and then like watch them look at me like you son of a bitch. Now, some of my characters are a lot more simple. Like my character for our Princess of the Apocalypse campaign
Mhm.
is very straightforward,
Yeah.
and like she's very sweet and doesn't really have any secrets. Very straightforward. Meanwhile, my character for Dragon Knights and my character for Horde of the Dragon Queen, I was really sitting on some bombshells that I was waiting to drop, which honestly the revelations for Horde of the Dragon Queen haven't really come out yet to the player characters. They've only come out in side conversations where none of the player characters were
Yeah,
present.
I think you told Barash, but you haven't told any of us.
Yeah, so for context, my character in Horde of the Dragon Queen, uh while he is a high elf now, was actually previously a gold dragon.
And that's one of
And
the like background tie-ins that you could have picked in at the start of the adventure. Is that right?
but our DM Ethan TSB uh decided to let my character have like a little more prominence and be actually one of the he decided to let me be not a henchman, but I guess like a very close associate of Bahamut, like some lore of Bahamut, like an iteration of Bahamut, I think in the Forgotten Realms, where he appears as an old man carrying like 7 canaries on a staff
Mm-hmm.
to represent gold dragons that were close association with him. But in our world, we actually did have a run up with a Bahamut, and he had 6 canaries. Because guess what? Your bitch was the 7th canary until he fucked up. Um, I was sitting on that one for a long while. Yeah. I was sitting on that bombshell for a while and didn't give any sort of indication until the information came to light. And that's the shit I love. Just watching everyone else react to backstory stuff. So that's I also kind of build my characters in that way where you know, I have big meaty juicy backstory that can sometimes be a pain in the ass for other characters or other play characters, like in Horde of the Dragon Queen. Not Horde, sorry, Dragon Knights. Uh that can which I think worked out beautifully because everyone else is so straight shot, uh not necessarily goody two shoes, but they're all pretty straightforward, where my character is like ooh, little dodgy,
Yeah.
but he
But
comes across so nice.
he really does. But I was mentioning Isabel. The first thing that came for Isabel was her voice, because
Yeah.
for Isabel, Isabel has that southern debutante kind of vibe going on. And the reason that I really wanted to do that, hi guys, my name's Isabel, is because I was very inspired by both Holly Conrad's Warlock, or not Warlock, Sorcerer in Dice Camera Action, and also Evelyn, Anna Prosser Robinson's
Mm,
character in Dice Camera Action.
that's interesting
And
because
I really wanted to make a character that was sort of like an amalgamation of both of those, just because I love those characters. And thus Isabel was sort of born. But I didn't want to play another ASMR, which is what I was originally thinking. But I've been playing ASMRs for a long time, and
oh yes,
we'll talk about that in a little bit, hopefully.
that's funny. You said that the concept started for you with the voice.
Yeah, that was just the voice that I wanted to do. I knew I was going to go into another stream campaign, which means
Mm.
I needed to come up with a new voice, a voice that I was comfortable with doing. And so far, the reactions in that channel for Isabel's voice were really great. A lot of people, specifically called out like, I love Evelyn's voice, not Evelyn, Isabel's.
That's
Which
so funny.
I was copying Anna Prosser Robinson's Evelyn because, like, I thought it was a very nice take on a character that a lot of people don't like, because a lot of people who we see in real life, who have that sort of voice, we aren't very fond of.
That's so funny because for me, whenever I'm making a character, voice is the last thing, if at all, just because I'm terrible with accents.
Mhm.
So most of the time, whenever I do a character voice, I just do like a slight change in my own voice.
Yeah.
I think the most adventurous I've been is with Zephyr, my character for Dragon Knights, in which I do a shitty interpretation of a slightly posh British accent. Um, and Arsqueef calls me out all the time for those accents. I'm an insult to British accents everywhere, but I think it works. I think it works for his character. So I
Oh,
think he's someone who puts on fancier airs than he really is. So
okay, but definitely makes sense for the character. Definitely.
yeah, so it ties into my own shitty skills and accents. Meanwhile, my boyfriend TSB is amazing at accents. Like he does a mean dwarf accent, mean Scottish accent. He could do British too, but like he's great when it comes to them. And meanwhile, I'm just like dinner. All my characters sound like Sharon from PR. Did I say PR? I meant HR. You know what I mean.
It's both some sort of relations. Well, no, one human resources. Okay, it's fucking corporate speak. And you're running that across me, who actually does work at a corporation.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, we
This
can't talk
alcohol.
about that.
Ooh, this alcohol ruining my ability to recall certain words. But yeah, okay. Yes.
But
How did we get here?
so we got here because we were talking about Isabel,
Yes,
who was
yes.
one of the characters that I came up with the voice first. That was definitely just a one-time thing. Most of my characters come from me wanting to try out a new class race, or me just wanting to try out some new kind of story mechanic.
Okay, so we're pretty much the same in that regard.
I think so. You mentioned Horde of the Dragon Queen, which, let me just say, is one of my favorite dynamics between two characters that we've had.
Oh my god. So usually most of the time whenever Connor and I have a character, I think with like a few exceptions, Horde of the Dragon Queen being the most notable one, we usually have a pretty friendly dynamic. Uh but not the case in Horde of the Dragon
Not the
Queen.
case in Horde of the Dragon Queen at all. In fact, what I wanted to do, actually, in Horde of the Dragon Queen, the first thing I did was I said, I want to double down on the draconic themes going on. So I wanted to be a dragonborn sorcerer of the draconic bloodline. Because at 14th level, because I knew that that game goes into Rise of Tiamat, which is an adventure that's supposed to end at level 15. At level 14 for a draconic sorcerer, you get dragon wings. And I wanted to be a dragonborn who flies around with dragon wings.
Oh yes,
and it would be awesome. But I'm like, hey, do I want to go chromatic or metallic? I know I want to breathe ice, because ice is a really cool element. And I ended up saying, and I didn't know that, actually I might have. So you have those story things that you can choose at the beginning, the story hooks. I knew that number 10 was off the limits, which is the one that you picked.
Yes, I had first access.
So I had a little metagaming pigeon knowledge that Kylen was going that route, and I knew.
Oh, son of a bitch!
And I knew that you were playing a paladin.
Yes, I did. For that one, I did pick Storyhook first, and then was like, okay, I want to be something of Bahamut. It's either cleric or paladin, and then decided on paladin. So different from my normal process. But yeah, continue.
So I said, hey, you know what would be interesting? If my character was not only a chromatic dragonborn, but is Pillarstone, to steal that Westworld term, his like cornerstone of his character is that whenever he was sort of young in life, um, a I don't e- I don't even know if I've specifically told Silent Man like this is what I was thinking, but like somebody who had a Bahamut holy symbol who was super drunk and belligerent and everything.
No,
I
I think you did talk about this
uh
in game one
I
time.
may have talked about it in game. I don't think I came up with it whenever I was building the character. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but he was attacked by someone who had a Bahamut holy symbol and was belligerently drunk and didn't like the fact that a chromatic dragon or something akin to it was walking around town. Like I I wanted that to be his pillar stone because I wanted to explore some of the themes there. And I thought, hey, this would be a really cool dynamic to explore with Kylan because our characters are usually buddy buddies.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I thought no one knew about the gold dragon thing, but you meta knew.
I
God damn it.
I did.
Well, I think I at least surprised Conster and maybe Negative Sigma. Actually, I don't know if no, he wasn't there for whenever that came to light. So I think I at least surprised Conster. Uh
Oh yeah, but most of our backstory is surprise monster. But like that's also how we build characters, and that's why I wanted this to be the topic of our talk about it. We build characters that tend to have a lot more spice.
Spice.
We spice.
Oh, we definitely spice.
Eh,
Yeah, I'm a little dramatic bitch when it comes to my backstory.
whereas a lot of times players like Conster just want to show up and have a good time with friends, and really don't worry so much about the sort of character they're building, just so long as they can hit stuff and spend time with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I think both of those play styles work, especially together.
oh,
I think
absolutely.
in every campaign you need maybe like one or two straight men, and then maybe like even like a couple of people who have like baggage and shit to deal with, and watch those dynamics bounce off each other. Like
I thought you
I
were going somewhere completely else when you said you need one or two straight men.
can we talk about that?
Let's let's we could probably talk about that. So yeah, let's actually talk about that.
Oh,
Do
what do
you
you
ever
want to talk about?
do you ever think about your character sexualities?
Oh, definitely. Okay, so not in my a lot of my initial characters, I actually kind of bill as asexual
Hmm.
just because I think that they're so they have so much more going on than just thinking about like romance and sex. Like whenever I created Ellie, who was one of my first characters, I can't imagine her being with anyone. Um
Oh,
romantically or sexually, just because she has she that's not something on the front of her mind. I don't know if that
really?
necessarily makes her asexual or aromantic, but that's not something that I really thought about at first. So I'm just like, oh, whatever. But nowadays I'm a lot more conscious of character sexuality, and sometimes I do work that into backstory. Um, yeah, there are definitely characters of our sexuality is an explicit part of their backstory. Um, but
Without
no
spoiling
spoilers
anything.
because those are semi-active campaigns.
Okay. So are there any characters that you can talk about who do have their sexuality like explicitly in their backstory that you can talk about?
Um, hmm. Well, the one for Conster's campaign that was semi-defunct, but we maybe uh, her sexuality, her name is Dagny,
Hmm.
is tied into her backstory, but I'm not gonna say anything. But if you're paying attention, I think you could figure that out. Um, let's see. My one for your campaign is also the same thread.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, And Zephyr's sexuality, while not explicitly tied to his backstory, I don't think I've had a lot of time to I don't think I've had the opportunity to really showcase it, but I've pinned Zephyr is actually like pansexual and where he doesn't particularly care.
That comes across really well because this might not really tie into the sexuality, but at the very least, he compliments everyone he tries to stab.
Oh geez. Yeah, yeah, no. Zephyr I pinned him as pansexual. I thought that he was coming across more straight than anything, but it's good to hear that you thought that he came across as pansexual. So
Okay. But I found it really,
that's good.
yeah, I found it really interesting that Ellie, your first character, was asexual because, well, I guess
Uh,
my first character was in Pathfinder and he was sort of ace, but my first D&D character was Skior Frostheart, who was a human blood hunter, Order of the Lycan. He was bi, and that really didn't it really didn't pan out. He never really found anybody, but uh, yeah, I thought that was just an interesting tidbit, but it never really came up in its backstory, and it really never played out on screen either. On screen, this
yeah.
was a home game.
Mm, yeah. I don't know. It's only I don't know. Some characters it's more important to me than others, I guess is my trend. And some characters I'm just like, meh. I can't really see them with anyone. It's
Uh,
not really a thing for them.
but a lot of my characters do end up being um, ace, just because I don't really think about them being with anybody from the very beginning. And some people can maybe read between the lines there. Can't talk about that.
Ooh, can't talk about that. Yo, ooh. I don't know. I tend to create a lot of women who love women characters, and I don't know if that this is saying something about me, but that's if I really explicitly put sexuality in my characters, that's generally what I tend to go with. So,
Hmm.
and if you can read between the lines,
Well, let's talk about that.
so what were we talking about before this? Before we talk about that?
We were talking about building characters, and I actually do want to pivot towards a conversation that was happening on Twitter earlier this week
Oh yeah.
between the Matts. Uh, most of y'all who are tuning into this are pretty active with D&D influencers and will know of both Matt Colville and Matt Mercer, two very wonderful people. I've had the pleasure to meet both of them.
Yes.
Not really exchange a lot of words, but I've been in their presence.
All
Uh,
right. Well, can we take the tiniest break? Maybe you can edit this out, but I gotta take a real quick break.
Absolutely. So we will talk about this right after that, where when Kylen does some parkour across the room.
Oh
And
my god, I'm about to do some crazy flips. You can describe it to everyone right now.
woo! So Kylen is doing a triple axel somersault Mc twist Mc flurry Whataburger. Uh shit, I've already said somersault. I don't know a whole bunch more terms. Uh fuck. Keela Flamingo.
Oh my god, Connor, I did the triple axel McFlurry Whataburger.
Oh damn, I was right.
And then I hit the 360 no scope, somersault, backflip, front flip, cartwheel, uh, round off, uh, Yeah, that's what I hit, and it was wild.
I did the falling angel side crow face palm savasana. Yeah, that. I'm just saying a
You
whole
know,
bunch of Sanskrit words that are yoga poses.
honestly, if we can be completely honest with our viewers, we are not sober enough to do an actual podcast with structure and form, but it's that this is the shit you sign up for. We're very upfront about what our brand is.
This is a literal stream of consciousness. It's just the conscious is full of alcohol.
Yes. Yes, which it's to some people might make it more entertaining because it's a bunch of fuck ups who barely have a grasp on English attempting to have a conversation.
This is very much influenced by All Work No Play,
Oh god. Yes.
which I'm so excited to see come back because I binged that in the office whenever I still had access to
Oh my gosh.
everything.
There was a period of time where I did a bunch of flights, like not pretty much back to back, but like with only a few months in between. And I downloaded the entirety of All Work No Play, and that's what I would listen to on the flights. And
Which, in the
uh,
off chance, if you're tuning into this and have no idea what those are, number one, how did you find us? Please like, comment, and subscribe and tell us how you found us. And number two, All Work No Play is a podcast by Liam O'Brien and Sam Riegel that is sort of the inception of Critical Role, especially in like episode 3 when they actually talk about it.
yeah,
Which is really fun to listen to, and it's being renewed for the new Critical Role channel, which is great.
Connor, in our relationship, if I had to, pin it to the All Work No Play,
You're Sam Riegel because
yes, bitch,
you
I am Sam Riegel.
you are the one everyone comes for, and
No. No, I was gonna say I'm the Sam Riegel in our relationship because I bring the tempestuous chaos, and then you're Liam O'Brien, which you do have your goofy side, but you have the bit of structure that I lack most of the time.
I mean, Liam O'Brien not only hugged my sister at the Gen Con thing, but he also awoos at my name sometimes in Talks Machina, so I'm okay with this.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah, that's our relationship. I'm the Sam O'Regal slash Rich, and you are the Liam O'Brien slash Dave. Once again, shouting out High Shelf Gaming.
Yeah, please
Beautiful,
check out High Shelf Gaming. Buy a
lovely.
t-shirt if those are still a thing. I don't think they are, but they were super soft, and I really wish I could have that sort of merch.
But so
But
we were discussing before the break,
I was
or
about to read a tweet
yeah,
by the Matts.
the Matt versus Matt discussion.
So Matt Colville, who, in my opinion, uh, or how I'm reading this, it's sort of like a representative for the old guard of D&D, where like he very
I would
much
agree.
strives for the ideals of the older editions, things that sort of make a resurgence in Pathfinder, Dungeon Crawl Classics, that sort of thing.
So, to someone who's not familiar with that, how would you explain what the traditional values of old D&D are?
Your characters will die. You need to make characters to go through dungeons and kill stuff and get treasure and bring them back and get more powerful. Where
Yeah, I
like
would agree with that.
whereas the other Matt that I will be reading a tweet from is definitely
Matt
more
Mercer.
Matt Mercer, yes, the DM for Critical Role, and a large inspiration for most people who are involved in the hobby or have gotten involved with the hobby in the past 3 years.
Yeah, he's the new guard.
Yeah, that even though Matt Mercer has definitely been playing it since very long ago, much longer than you or you or I have.
Oh, definitely. But his values represent the values that we associate with new D&D, which is a very narrative based,
Role playing, theater,
role
improv.
playing based, making sure everyone is having fun, and if they're not, how can we readjust this? Very encompassing,
Very using D&D to explore other perspectives. Not so much playing D&D as a video game, but playing D&D as part of the human experience, trying to immerse themselves in other roles and characters and stuff.
which disclaimer, any way that you want to play D&D
You're
is
valid.
fine in our books, right? So, and that's one of the beautiful things about tabletop RPG, much like D&D, is they can fit any type of player, whether you prefer to just hack and slash or you prefer to get into the nitty-gritty story stuff.
Right.
So,
Just because
definitely by all means, we are not being critical of any style of play.
that said, we definitely have our own styles of play that we enjoy.
Yes, for sure.
But going back to these tweets. So there was a discussion about alignment where Matt Colville, this I say discussion, it's literally just Matt Mercer quote tweeting Matt Colville. But Matt Colville said, and I quote, "I think we need more explicitly evil PCs in D&D. Maybe not enough folks are reading OG Dragonlance. Maybe I've gone mad, and this is a historically terrible idea, but some of my favorite PCs were evil." To which Matt Mercer replied, and I say replied, he actually quote tweeted, "This heavily, and heavily is in all caps, depends on the maturity level, understanding, and respect between the players. I've had games with evil characters that were awesome. I've also had them devolve into a total mess where no one was having fun, and hear this outcome more often than not." Kylen, how do you feel about the evil alignment in D&D for a player character?
Well, I actually have a character who is evil aligned. Um, I have a character who is lawful, in my opinion, if is about as far in the alignment chart as you should probably go if you want to make a character. Um, so I think lawful good to lawful evil is, I think, the PC boundary. And why I say that is, at least with lawful evil, you can have some way to tether them to the party dynamic because they'll at least either abide by some form of law, some form of honor system that will make them keep from going like complete murder hobo, fuck the party type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral evil, chaotic evil is where it gets a little dicey for me. But if you're an extremely skilled role player, in our Horror of the Dragon Queen campaign, which we've referenced earlier, one of our players plays a neutral evil character, which I think he does in a very nice and subtle way.
If
That
you
does not.
weren't about to call it out, I would have definitely called out Negative Sigma.
Yes, he does an amazing job of playing a neutral evil character in a way that is not obtrusive to the campaign, and that for the most part flies under all the other inner party drama that we have. So
We caused most of the inter-party drama in that campaign.
oh yeah, it's definitely me and Connor, just butting heads, but
Our
most of
characters
the
butting heads.
yes, but I'd say most of the time, barring a few exceptions, I think lawful evil is about as far as I would be comfortable with someone playing. And unless they, specifically have in their head, okay, I'm not just being a jackass, there's ways that I can show that I'm a selfish character
Mm-hmm.
without just killing everyone in sight and fucking with the party. But I play a lawful evil character who I think definitely pushes the boundaries of that, but she does have one thing to keep her in check, and that's her system of honor when it comes to combat. So never like killing anyone just to like kill someone, but like killing someone in combat and like strong to survive, very honor-based combat system.
Oh,
And I,
so you said she. So I'm thinking of a completely different character.
oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about Undyne from our campaign.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't.
okay. You're talking about Undyne. We
You're
talked about
thinking
that.
of
We talked.
Zephyr.
Yeah, I'm talking about Zephyr.
Oh, well, you want to know Zephyr's alignment?
If it's not a spoiler, yeah.
Not really spoiler. His is chaotic neutral, is
Chaotic
what I had him
neutral,
pinned at.
okay.
No,
But
I never pinned him as evil because I don't think he's done selfish things, but I think um he mostly does it for survival. I mean, there were a few times he kind of went off track and was like, okay, well, how far can I push this? But um I don't think he's inherently evil because I think if he was evil, he wouldn't be trying to fix the huge mistake that he caused.
okay.
So I have him as chaotic neutral, which the way I try to play chaotic neutral is that they're actively disrupting the party because I know chaotic neutral can get a bad rap
Hmm.
sometimes as like, oh, you're a chaotic asshole.
Yeah.
And you're just, like killing everyone, fucking the
Yeah.
bar wench.
Some of my favorite characters have been chaotic neutral, so
So I try and play him in a way that's very non-obtrusive.
okay.
Um, which I think for the most part has been successful because only now in like episode 8 of our campaign has it come out. Oh, by the way, I've done some very shitty things.
So I thought that Zephyr was a little murder prone, but and that is what I tend to think of as an evil character, but yeah.
Oh, see, the way I pictured it is he murders only whenever he thinks it's necessary.
Okay.
So with the flashback scene, if he thought he could have gotten out of that situation without hurting anyone, he would have done it. But whenever he feels cornered, he's like, okay, well, this is the quickest way to go about it. Um, which he's not necessarily a fan of. He would love to do things without hurting people, but he's if it comes down to it, he's not against it, which I think uh, I feel like places him more in like a chaotic neutral category than say like a neutral evil. Um, and then with the most recent situation, I feel like it wasn't so much of him being cornered necessarily, but I think he was just so with everything that had happened. I'm trying to be as non-spoilery as possible in case people actually want to watch this or our campaign.
Hmm.
I think he felt kind of uh well, I'm not special. You know, this is the only way. Well, actually, no, I think more importantly, he was kind of like, well, this is the only way I can get rid of this part of my past that's holding on to me.
Yeah.
And this is the only way I can accomplish that. And then once it was accomplished and there was more baggage tied with that, he was like, oh shit, well, now I gotta take care of this because now I have even more baggage holding on to me. And this baggage not only affects me, but it affects the fate of the world. So I've really fucked up. And I think he's not evil necessarily because I think he actually has people in his life now that he doesn't want to see get hurt. Like I wouldn't say he would kill the members of his current party if he felt cornered like he would before. So that's my justification.
The end of the series is still gonna be him killing Isabel
No, no.
though.
Oh no, it is not.
So I don't think any of my characters have been evil. And I say think. Some of my characters have had influences from evil deities. So once again, going back to my character from Horde of the Dragon Queen.
We talk about this campaign a lot because we thrive off of the
also this
campaign.
And also this campaign has been on hiatus for a while, and we sort of have to keep it fresh in our minds.
We're thirsty for it.
We are very thirsty for it.
TSB, give us more delicious Horde of the Dragon Queen.
TSB doesn't listen to our podcast.
Oh, he actually did.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no.
Just to keep
everyone...
I
nagged him long enough to watch.
Just to keep everyone informed on what we're drinking, I have finished my coffee and have swapped to Blue Moon beer.
I'm still nurturing this ginger ale.
Gin squared drill. So my character in Horde of the Dragon Queen, his name is Rogar, the white dragonborn sorcerer of the draconic bloodline. He had spoken to Tiamat, or more specifically, Tiamat had spoken to him to protect a soul surviving black dragon egg and he eventually started to raise it as his kid, and that whenever it hatched, it had imprinted on our wonderful Bahamut paladin. So our characters are now proud parents of a black dragon.
Oh boy.
Who
Barash
is all
and his two dads.
Which I'm pretty sure Barash is good aligned, even for a black dragon. And he's like cool with Bahamut.
Is he? Do you think he's good, or do you think he's more neutral?
I think he's good. Specifically, I think Silent Band made him good so that things would end up well. You're muted. You're not muted, but I'm not hearing you.
I categorize him as good, but that could be the Tyrell in me talking. Oh, I think the Tyrell in me says that he's probably more neutral line because I think he's just trying to absorb much of the world as possible, and he hasn't quite made a decision.
Okay, that's interesting. I think that Bahamut and him had a very good talk, and because Bahamut actually came into our campaign and talked to him and talked to Tyrell, and didn't talk to Rogar, who was traumatized by him in the past. But evil deities.
Yes, evil deities.
So I don't think I've made any evil characters, but I have had characters that have been influenced by evil deities. In one episode that I showed up for in Off the Table, I had a character who was a Great Old One warlock, and their patron was Grandpappy Theriston.
Who? You're right. Uriel, I think.
It was Uriel. That's correct. It was for DNDTV.
Yeah.
Which was a Big Brother sort of thing. That's where he made friends with Chesty. And he was trying to be super best friends with everyone because no one was really taking that angle in the D&D Big Brother game. But he was definitely fucking crazy. But he was crazy in a very innocent Alice in Wonderland kind of way.
Yeah.
But he still had influence from a very evil deity, and that sort of made its appearance in the later part where I was just like, this person's staying behind. Oh no, I'm going to screw them over and cast suggestion on them and get them to come with us and fight, Char, the goddess of dungeons and darkness and shit.
See, but I love that dichotomy though. Uh the idea of good characters with evil patrons or gods that for some whatever reason they ended up in this relationship or this pact, and the dichotomy between that, like this character's inherent goodness and the person who provides their powers their inherent evilness, and how this character reacts in turn. I don't know, I love shit like that. I love roadblocks and to dichotomies and what have you.
So I might get a little bit spoilery with this.
Oh boy, here we go. Let's
Just a
talk
little
about
bit.
exclusive.
Because this hasn't actually come up quite yet, but that is what I created my character for Monday night campaign around.
Oh shit, bitch.
So for those of you who don't know, I make regular appearances. I say make regular appearances. I'm a fucking full cast member on Indoor Adventurers stream. I guess that's the actual name of the series. We don't have a team name yet, so I can't call it by that, and I don't know what the world's called. But I made a character named Blake. He is a black dragonborn blood hunter. And I fully intend for him to be Blood Hunter Order of the Profane Soul. And for those of you who haven't read Matt Mercer's Blood Hunter class, that is essentially a Blood Hunter that makes a Warlock patron. And I specifically made this because I've been playing a lot of Warlocks up until that point, and I was just like, I need to make something other than a Warlock. But I also really like the Warlock relationship.
Yeah, right.
I built this character around what his patron would be.
Ooh.
And I sort of mentioned a possible patron earlier in the stream. It is definitely a red herring. So I've asked another character who is Eladrin. Definitely like his best friend.
Aw, besties.
I've asked them to help me find a patron because in his backstory, he's a black dragonborn who was raised by humans, and that's why his name is Blake. A black dragonborn.
They were really on the nose with that one, yeah.
And that's something that I do with most of my characters on Indoor's channel. Actually, it's just she's very on the nose human names for non-human characters.
It's okay. My character for Dragon Knights, Zephyr Sirocco, basically his name means wind, and his original name also means wind. So yeah, I get what it means to be on the nose character.
What, you choose J.K. Rowling names? Black Dog and Werewolf McWerewolf?
Yes.
I know his birth name, and that hasn't come up yet. But Blake's patron, the patron that he is going to get, is not good.
Ooh,
it is not an Archfey, and it is not a Celestial.
Oh boy, the options that leave. None of those are particularly good.
Silent Band is making an appearance, and he is not asleep. This is very off-brand for us.
Yeah, our entire brand is based off we're up being drunk while Silent Band is asleep.
Drunk and go to sleep.
No, you can't talk!
Can't talk about that.
No, you're ruining it. Yeah, but yeah, that does not leave you very many good choices, my friend. All the other warlock classes I could think of, or patrons I could think of, not particularly good.
No.
Some will make you crazy. Some are downright evil.
And I really don't want to say much more about that, but ooh, we're about to hit level 3. It might actually come up literally tomorrow.
Ooh.
But anyway, this is all to say, I really enjoy good characters being, or good and neutral characters being met with evil patrons, deities, that sort of outside force, and having to reconcile with that.
Oh, I live for that bitch.
That sort of internal struggle also making its way into your party dynamic. I think that's very cool and very interesting. But I also hate making chaotic asshole characters.
Mm.
And even like with Rogar, I feel like I'm towing the line for making things so fucking bad for the party. Like, I literally was just like, hey, let's hatch a fucking black dragon to help us fight forces that are tearing apart Faerun, that are eventually going to summon fucking Tiamat. You know, the
Well, see,
patron, the matron of evil dragons, evil chromatic dragons.
See, I don't associate that type of behavior with chaotic asshole. I think chaotic asshole is the typical like murder hobo. Like everything I say goes. Like,
Oh, let me tell you about that. Let's talk about that.
oh, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Ooh, that was a nice, some sweet leggy action.
So I tried parkour, but it was literally just me doing pay me like one of your French girls poses.
Yeah, he tried doing parkour, but ended up being sexy. So like, what are you doing later?
From the other side of the country. I started playing role-playing games 2015, summer of 2015, where Camille Does D&D was starting up a little group with our interns, our group of interns. I really enjoyed it, so I was just like, hey, I want to try DMing. Let me get some players to like beta test a campaign that I want to eventually run for my friends in college, who were you, Ethan, and everyone else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is how I got 3 evil characters showing up for the party. Who murdered everybody. Who did everything that a horrible person would ever want to. And I had to go along with like, oh no, my character still likes you. He wants you to do stuff. Yeah, it was definitely a beta test because it forced me as a DM to just twist the world to still be about them and still like them. But honestly, looking back now, I should have just killed them all.
Well, I think, and of course, you know, I'm not saying, oh, you should have done this. Of course, obviously, per session, but I think, especially with people who you don't really know their roleplay style as well, I think that's where the session 0 is very important.
Yeah.
Where you establish the guidelines of, okay, what kind of story do you guys want to have? What's on the table, what's off the table.
Well, yeah, but there were 2 very important things with this particular group. Number 1, we were all playing together in Camille.C&D's campaign where we were all pretty good guys. So I had a little bit of an experience with them. But, and this is a big but, number 2,
a big old
butt. I had asked a group of engineers to beta test a campaign. Do you know what happens whenever you ask an engineer to beta test something?
They want to find all the ways to break it.
They want to find all the ways to break it.
And break it they did, it sounds like.
They certainly tried, but I suspended a lot of disbelief to try to get it to work. They played a little bit, I fast forwarded through some bosses, and in the end, the campaign that I presented to y'all was completely different, and even then, we did not finish it. It is out there in the ether.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, so that sort of chaotic asshole character, I see every now and then. It's definitely not the character that I enjoy playing with. It's definitely the power fantasy that I see a lot of people who start playing D&D or any role-playing game want to try out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not one that I recommend.
Oh, yeah. No, because at the end of the day, you're a person, you're a real life person playing this game with other people, and like, other people wanna they wanna have fun too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you spend all the time making it about you, shit you wanna do, you're ultimately kind of taking away from of other people. So, as long as they're a good, healthy balance, everyone knows what they want to do, or they're in agreement, like, hey, this is the kind of vibe we want to go for. Like, it's just like, making sure that everyone has fun, I think, is like the ultimate party dynamic you want to have. And if someone's being an asshole and taking away from that fun, you gotta rectify that somehow. Otherwise, that's not a party dynamic that I think is very sustaining. It's not gonna last very long.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, I think we're going to take our second and
we're gonna take probably our first official break and not a Kylen needs to pee break.
Well, this is a Connor needs to pee break.
So yeah, I also need to refill my drink and clean up this mess I made. So yeah, slap up an aardvark, play 3 seconds of whatever song you want to play, and
what's worse than Careless Whisper? Darude, Sandstorm, go.
That's it. That's the one. All right.
And we are doing parkour right now. Welcome back to this mess.
Hey everyone, we're back and we're here to fucking talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Oh my god, he's doing it. He did the part. He did the one where he gets on his knees and he throws his leg in the air.
Woo!
He did that one. The yoga parkour.
Where we call it parkour, but it's actually just yoga and shit yoga at that. And we're, lying. Because we're both in front of a camera.
And we just kind of flail and, maybe embellish some details. One of these days we might do an actual recorded episode with with like a video with actual parkour. But
whenever you get us drunk at 12 o'clock a.m. no, p.m. whatever's the lunchtime, it's p.m.
Wait, you got drunk at lunchtime?
Silent Band and my trip to Disney World, yeah. Not Disney World, Universal. But yeah. Get us drunk enough to do a let's talk about it very early, and with cameras around where we're not, shit, what do I know?
Where we don't look ugly.
Where we don't look like shit.
And then we'll do some parkour in front of a camera, which, trust me, you want to see that shit. We are excellent at parkour.
Excellent. All of Latin America would be proud. Especially Brazil.
To our Brazilian listener.
Our one Brazilian listener.
You better be fucking proud of this shit.
So, we've talked about evil characters, we've talked about character voices and making characters. What? So you've talked a little bit about how you don't really min-max, but you do like to make semi-optimal characters.
Yes. I am guilty of what I call min-max light. Um, in which I like to play characters with uh semi-optimal
Mhm.
at the very least stats. Not the super crazy builds where you see where break the system, but at least I what I really gun for is whenever I'm creating a character have an 18 in my preferred stat for that class.
Yeah.
At the very least. If I'm at a 16, I'm uncomfortable, but I'll still do it. Anything lower, I'm just like, I don't know if this is a build for me unless I'm really just committed to the story and the race class build.
Okay.
But yeah, I do. Uh, like I said, I think it's min max light. I like to have some optimal stat. Although in my character for Dragon Knights, I made a rogue who is not proficient in stealth.
Well, that makes sense for like a swashbuckler rogue.
Yeah, no. Which, could come in handy if he was good at stealth, but he's not. I placed all of his skills into charisma based skills. Oh, well, and acrobatics, which really saved my butt today. But yeah, so sometimes I'll make the choices that are optimal, but I think it's part of my perfectionist personality that I have already that I want to be close to the best
Yeah.
at what I'm doing. So I like to play optimal or close to optimal characters. What about you?
So I do have a habit of making sure that my race class has nice synergy. So Isabel is a half elf warlock of the Celestial. She has very, very high charisma. And I say very high, but that very high is a 16.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty much if I play a character, they're going to have a 16. If they don't have a 16, then they're probably Jaharth, who is the character that I played on Sir Lucian's channel. The very first time I ever played a stream character where I rolled literally
Yeah.
all negatives except 2.
Oh, Jesus. Actually, I would like to make one quick addendum. Um, a lot of campaigns I play in nowadays do standard array or point buy,
Mhm.
which is fine.
Yeah.
And in those cases, I will try to pick a race that I think will provide more optimal stats for whatever class I'm going for. But my preferred way of doing things, just because uh, I have chaotic Fey energy, is I like rolling for stats. I am that bitch. Give me a D20. I'll play it that crazy, or 2d6s, or however. And then that I feel like that gives me more freedom to be a little more crazy with my race class combination. I don't know how you rolling for stats.
So I do enjoy rolling for stats, especially if those stats are good. But at the very least, for characters that I've rolled for Sir Lucian's channel, which by the way, if you haven't checked out Sir Lucian, he does a very wonderful Saturday morning D&D show with Jordan with the silent PH in the middle, both of whom are very upstanding gentlemen, very great role-playing influencers that I've had the pleasure of meeting in person. I've played with
Yes.
Sir Lucian a few times, still haven't played with Jordan yet. We've
Mm.
had a game lined up for a little bit. I think that's fallen by the wayside, but someday. He,
Someday.
he hosted my channel at one point. I'm sure we'll play eventually. I hope. He does such good lore videos. And you know I'm all about that lore. But any character that I've rolled up for Sir Lucian's channel had shit stats. Uh, I cannot. No.
Okay.
So Crispy Mango is typing right now. Can you hear snoring? And no, I cannot. Which means we are back on brand. Silent Man is sleeping.
He is.
Everything is right with the world.
Okay. All right. So as long as you guys can't hear it, that's fine. I was trying to be subtle, but we're drunk enough where subtlety is thrown out the window.
You mean you don't want to post your entire life for the internet to read and digest and deconstruct?
Oh God. Well, it all started when I was born.
So I roll shit characters for that, and because I roll shit characters who have like one or two positive stats, I feel like I need to overcorrect that by going Dragonborn Paladin. Which is a strength and charisma based half caster. Who you can get away with doing that, and then because you're a paladin, you're still like a support healer kind of character. So that's how Jaharth was born, and Jaharth is a silver dragonborn conquest paladin who I premiered on Sir Lucian channel for like I said, my very first ever Twitch appearance, and he was really fun to play. The start of a trend of level 3 characters going against gods, literal gods.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, swords.
Guy of Swords. Yeah, you can find that in one of my playlists on the YouTube channel, which you're at right now if you're listening to this.
Hell fucking yeah.
But for most characters, if I roll positive stats, I will generally go with like a more story-based thing. I usually won't go min-maxy. I think having an 18 at first level is a little bit, I don't know. I might be overdoing it at that point.
Oh no, it's the perfectionist in me. We rolled for stats in our first campaign, in TSB's campaign, and my character rolled a natural 20 on a stat and got a 19 in another. And then we were leveling up to a certain level, so I got an ASI at that point. So I started out with a 20 in charisma and dex. So was I a little spoiled bitch? Yes, probably. Although I did have, I think, 2 negative stats. I think I had, or maybe like a negative and a 0.
Was it wisdom and strength?
Wisdom and intelligence, maybe?
Okay.
And I think, or maybe strength too. I think strength was definitely at a 0. But I definitely had negative wisdom because Ellie was not very wise. But
Sure was not very anything.
Oh, but that campaign was so much fun. Have we talked about our favorite? I think we have talked about our favorite.
Our favorite
classes
what?
on here.
Classes?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that because whenever you build a character, well, I'm still saying that this episode is about building characters and not just us talking about our OCs.
So my OC is half demon, half angel, named Dante. Has white hair with black tips and red eyes, and you can find them on DeviantArt.
Or Devil May Cry, because that's a series.
Shut up.
My OC is hot. So whenever you build a character, we tend to go for a particular race or class first, right? Or at least we come up with this particular combination that's going to fit a story or campaign.
Yes.
What is your favorite, or at least what have you picked the most for that? Maybe, like, what did you pick first? Because that might be the same thing.
So what do I tend to gravitate towards in a campaign?
Just talk about your races and classes.
Or character. I think that I've been pretty balanced in a sense. if I had the chance, I would love to play bards, lore bards. It's my favorite class. But I'm holding out for the chance that we'll be able to either reboot our campaign that we had with my bard, or we'll start a sort of new campaign, some sort of spin-off where I can bring her back. So otherwise, I'm holding out for her because I don't think any other bard I could build would compare to the love that I had for the first character.
And
So if I
whenever you
heard,
say her, do you mean
oh, I mean, Ellie, my chaos gnome bard, who, if you've seen any sort of art that is,
if you see my Overwatch streams, I use that character's portrait
yes,
for
yes,
Chrissy Mango or Kyle
yeah.
with an N.
Yeah, my beautiful chaos gnome bard, who is my favorite character to date, just because I don't know, I just love tapping into that wild, happy energy that she. And I love bards in general. It's exactly the kind of play style I like. Just the support, buff, debuff, damage, just anything jack of all trades style, crazy charisma. That's me. That's the shit I love. But other than that, I'm pretty balanced in what I like to try. Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, hmm.
So you like gnome bards,
Yes. Gnome Bard is my favorite.
and you've played gnome bards since before you watched Critical Role.
Yes. Funny story. My first time I ever played D&D was like I'm not particularly sure on the timeline, but anywhere from a year or two before I formally started watching Critical Role because Connor had been talking about Critical Role for a while, but I was like, yeah, I'll get into it. Which, if you want, I could also talk about the story how I got into Role if we haven't already talked about it on the stream.
I
Because
think we talked about it last time.
okay, we did talk about it last time, but yeah. So yeah, I played about a year or two before I watched Critical Role. uh my one of my ex-boyfriends had started up just a one shot of D&D, and honestly I don't even think it was 5e. I couldn't tell you, I was so unfamiliar with the system at that point. But to me, my goal was to make the most shit posty character possible. So for me, that was a gnome bard who, if I remember right, her name was, it was like Nimboptin Tingle or Bingle or something like that. And my bard, the little quirk that I added for that bard was she only knew how to play Piano Man by Billy Joel. And that was the only song she knew how to play, and she would just adjust that based on the situation. Um, so that was the basis of what uh Ellie, my updated bard a year or two later, whenever I formally got introduced to D&D 5e, was what I based her off of. Who did know how to play more than Piano Man, but it was a very important song in her repertoire. So that was the basis of that. But yeah, it was a year or two before I was even introduced to Critical Role, and Sam Riegel's character Scanlan Shorthalt, who was a gnome bard. So whenever I saw that, I was like, "Oh, bitch, same hat." So I really, yeah. So definitely, yeah. If you know me, I resonated with Scanlan just because that was the type of character I built. This initially shitposty character who did end up having more serious implications as they develop. So that's, yes. I love Gnome Bard is my go, is what I love. But I love halflings as well. Halflings are also in my a new addition to my repertoire,
You
and
like chibi characters.
yeah, yeah. I love short. I love short, happy people. So dwarves, sorry, you're not included. But I love short, happy people, and I love charisma casters. So after bard, I like sorcerer, then paladin, then maybe warlock if I had to list. Just because, God, warlock doesn't. I have some grief with the 5e warlock. I just don't think they don't have enough spell slots, and they're too squishy to really I think efficiently do Pact of the Blade. And I don't know. I just don't doesn't really jive with me the
That's
way
fair.
that Warlock is set up, but I think the story potential is redeemable. I think that the
That's entirely
patron
fair, not Phil.
yeah, the patron and pack thing I think is redeemable. So even though I'm like, oh bitch, I don't like warlocks. I'm creating a warlock right now for the campaign I'm gonna do with Connor, so am I a hypocrite? Yes, bitch, I might be. But I'm trying to do style of warlock than the last warlock I played in Connor's campaign. So, yeah, no, that's me. What is so? I have things I like, but I try to switch it around. I try not to fall back on it, but I'm very clear on what my faves are. So, what's your go-to, Connor?
What? What did he say?
So
I remember when they first invented Discord. Sweet, sweet Discord.
I always hated it.
I always hated it.
So let's see. Jeez, what were we? Oh yeah, I was starting to ask you, what is your go-to? I think I know, but I'm gonna let you talk about it. In D&D, what's your character build go-to? Or something that you find yourself going to and you're like, no, fuck, don't do that. You've done that like 5 times.
I really have though. So I'll tell you my very first character. My very first character was Cornell, the human druid. This is for a Pathfinder game, which is sort of like 3.5.
Yeah.
And he was the long lost heir to the evil queen who was going to sacrifice everyone for immortality and infinite power. And
she an evil bitch.
She was an evil bitch. She actually killed him.
Oh.
Yeah. This was in Camille Does D&D's Pathfinder campaign. Very first campaign. She remembers nothing of it. But I remember most of it explicitly. And that bitch killed me. That bitch being the evil queen, not Camille Does D&D. Camille Does D&D is a treasure and must be protected. But
was she with the one piloting?
Yeah.
And
I say Camille Does D&D must be protected, but she also does not need protecting from anybody. She does a great job of protecting herself.
A strong, independent woman who don't need no man, but can have one.
Enjoys the company of one anyway.
Ooh, big mood.
But I do enjoy druids a lot because the shape-shifting ability allows me to live out my dreams of living life as someone who can turn into a wolf.
Yeah, for those of you who can't see the video capture, he just held up his official Cybrwulf pillow, which you could find at a link.
Streamlabs.com/merchandise/Cybrwulf1201. I think maybe you can find it through the Twitch, which you might be able to find through the YouTube if you go to my channel and find the little Twitch icon that says watch live.
So you gotta find a buried treasure map, and then you gotta interpret the buried treasure map, and then I'm gonna go grab a charger. But
You have to walk 50 paces to the left. Then you gotta take 3 hops this time. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. And then you gotta... So yeah, mostly I just tell people to find stuff through my Twitch. But you're on YouTube, so yeah, great.
So then once you find the buried treasure, you have to put the buried treasure map in the oven, which is going to piss the entire nation off.
But you'd also have the Declaration of Independence at that point.
So, that's interesting that you say that Druid is your favorite class, because I feel like
I've played
a time when you make a character, you make an ASMR Warlock, I feel like.
So I've played ASMR Warlock once. That's not true. I played ASMR Warlock twice. Because once in Camille.cnd's home campaign, I did guest star as a ASMR Warlock Pact of the Hexblade / ASMR Bard College of Whispers. His name was Ben. And he was jealous of the characters because his patron, the Raven Queen, was sending them on all sorts of missions, and that's something that she never gave him the attention to do. So he intended to knock the entire party out, take some stuff from them, and just leave, and just be like, okay, I will see y'all whenever y'all are better. Hope my lady treats you right.
Oh, bitch, damn.
But because of the action economy whenever it relates to player characters, I died.
Womp womp.
Womp womp indeed. But it's funny because like Camille.cnd actually like asked me to be a part of the campaign specifically to flip their bag of holding inside out so that they could get treasures that they had never like seen before.
Oh.
That they technically had, but they were inside the bag of holding.
So you were supposed to be a loot drop?
I was supposed to drop loot from them and also take loot from them.
Ah. So you were an agent of chaos, but it seems like
Absolutely.
They thwarted you.
They definitely did thwart me. I knocked one of them out, and that was it.
If I remember correctly, I think you said they trapped your soul in an arrow and then shot you into the ocean?
They did. They really did. They did that.
Bitch, that's hardcore.
But as far as my favorite class, I've been, like I said before, I had a Warlock kick for a while, just because I thought that they had a very unique narrative spot. The relationship with the patron is definitely something super interesting that I love exploring.
Unique narrative, but weak class mechanics. But, I'm gonna sip my tea on that one.
I mean, having limited spell slots is a hindrance, but the fact that those spell slots are all of your highest level is amazing. You saw what I did with that Hellish Rebuke today.
That Hellish Rebuke was nice. I don't know. I'm gonna play a different style of Warlock for your campaign, so hopefully that'll change my mind on Warlock. I'm trying to be optimistic.
Well,
but...
you'd also be playing a low-level Warlock, because for those of you who don't know, we're playing Waterdeep Dragon Heights because that released very recently.
Yes.
And that's a adventure that definitely only goes from 1st to 5th level. Although you will be running into a couple of things based off of our particular setting that isn't really included in the module that might allow you to go a little bit above and beyond. Kylen and I are like looking at each other from different angles right now, just like, huh? What? What you say? What you doing? I can't really talk about it because, yeah. But she is also not talking about it. Give me some audible response. Say meh. No, you're doing picture frames. Get the picture done. Slide to one side. What are you doing? You're dabbing right now. Why? What doing? Sweetie, what? No.
I'm dancing until I get a solid connection. Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing that campaign. And hopefully you'll see a different side of warlocks, but also you're playing a low level warlock, so you don't see the like super powered 2 spell slots that you get as a warlock.
Hate it.
You'll probably hate it, yeah. We are playing Waterdeep Dragon Heist pretty soon. Except not in Waterdeep.
No, not in Waterdeep. Where are we going, Connor?
We are going to Iman. Iman from the
shit.
Taldore campaign guide. So we'll be seeing some other stuff. Other factions and other villains will be involved. I say. I don't want to spoil too much because we haven't started that campaign yet. We're playing
excited
with some wonderful people. Who I'm not gonna mention because, you know, this is a nice chill home game.
Yeah.
That our wonderful friend group is playing. Friend group, I say, mods of my channel and other wonderful people who are involved with my channel.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is definitely going to be interesting party dynamic.
This is the most ambitious campaign that I have ever prepped for.
Oh, bitch, I'm so excited because I know most of us are critical role sluts, and our other player is not versed but is interested in learning, so...
Which I am very enthralled for myself, because the fact that someone is willing to play in the Critical Role campaign setting but has very little involvement with at least Critical Role campaign 1 is interesting, because I can throw out a lot of stuff, but I'm also spoiling a lot by just setting something in Iman.
Well, see, with this person, I think they had a very traditional approach to D&D, in which my character can only be defined as far as the rules define. So I'm very restricted in what I create. But I think the new age approach to D&D and like what we've been trying to tell this person, and I think that this person's like, oh shit, yeah, this is how this is really you create your character however you want, and then we find the rules to like supplement that and explain why that is. So it's really story first, and then okay, how to explain this?
Yeah.
And even then, if you can't find something to explain that, you work with a DM, you homebrew shit, and then you know it's all about player enjoyment at that point.
Yeah.
So I think we've really turned him around on the idea of D&D. So I think he's excited to really get in that shit.
I hope so, yeah. I think so.
But I'm excited to
fully
play
invested in everybody's characters from what they've told me. I haven't heard a lot about some people's characters, but that's okay. I'm sure we will get stuff over tomorrow and the next week while I continue frantically adapting everything to this new setting.
You know me, I love being involved in 10 D&D campaigns at once, so I'm excited as fuck.
10 D&D campaigns. That's
you know, my brain is full of half-brained ideas and panning out on other people's half-brained ideas, so you know, it works.
But warlocks. but my characters.
Oh yeah, all those Asimar warlocks.
So I've played Asimars a lot more than I played warlocks. I played Asimar clerics. You have actually played Evander.
Okay, yeah, it's funny because Connor had a character named Evander, which was a fallen Asimar grave cleric, but then for our Curse of Strahd campaign, we
The
had
first time I ever ran a module, by the way. And it's a wonderful module.
Yeah, so our Curse of Strahd campaign, we only had 3 players, and that campaign is a bitch and a half in difficulty. So,
especially if you don't have a good aligned cleric or paladin.
We did not have a good aligned cleric or paladin. So Connor basically did a follower type system in which every character had their own player character, but then we also had a follower, which we also controlled in terms of battle and not RP. So we would RP between the 3 of us, and then when it came to a battle, we had like a follower that was tied to us for story reasons. And yeah, when my follower was a fallen Asimar grave cleric, which Connor had played before, but had redone for our campaign.
Yeah, actually, that I've played before in another Camille Does D&D campaign, a short-term campaign. But...
And actually, he was the one who got the kill shot on Strahd.
Yeah.
So, you know,
got him bolt up the butt.
Yeah, it got him bolt up the butt in Strahd in daylight. So that, you know, that was the kill blow. And we also destroyed the fuck out of his crypt, which I don't know if that helped in any way, but
I mean,
satisfying as if my player character would have gotten
I don't want to spoil
shot, but it was still pretty satisfying because it was a goddamn bolt up. So that was, yeah, but no, Connor loves Asimar characters, and I say warlocks just because he the past few characters he's created for on-stream campaigns have all been warlocks, I feel like.
Yeah, so Evander wasn't a warlock. I think he was my last non-warlock character. I played Ben, and then whenever I got back on stream, I played Jaharth, who was a paladin. Then I played Uriel, who was a warlock of Therisden, so a great old one warlock. My very next character was Isabel. No, my very next character was Carter. His name was Carter. He was a UNT warlock. Warlock of the Hexblade. And he had a snake friend. His name was Ratchas. But you can call him Dan. He likes Dan.
Interesting. My favorite character is Bard, and your favorite character is Druid, but we play all these other classes.
Yeah.
The class that we like the best. Why is that?
I think it's because we know what our fates are, and we want to experiment with everything else. There are still 2 classes that I have no experience with, and those are Wizard and Monk.
No, at this point, honest to God, I have played every class. There are some classes I would like to flesh out into a full campaign and play with. The only class that I haven't officially played with is Blood Hunter, and that's not an official class. It's available on D&D Beyond, but it's not official D&D material.
Have you played Artificer or Mystic?
Yeah, other than that, I have officially experimented with every class. Favorite, but I'm still holding back on that Bard character that I love so much, so I don't want to create any other Bards.
Have you played Artificer or Mystic?
I created an artificer character that I did in a one shot Ethan where he was a DM and it was just me and he kind of supplemented with some NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually ported that character to Numenera. Luca
Luca, okay.
an artificer in D&D 5e, but I ported it over to Numenera.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like she works probably better in the Numenera setting, but
I think so.
I
Yeah.
haven't done Mystic because at the time I read Mystic, I felt like Mystic was too crunchy for me. There's a lot going on. Maybe
Yeah.
if I reread and reapproached Mystic, I would feel a little less pensive. But the first time I read it, I was like, "Ooh, this is."
Yeah. I definitely think they need to revisit psionics and mystic because there was a lot. 5 subclasses for a brand new character class was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, seems like our internet connection isn't gonna hold up for much too longer.
Oh
Oh
no!
no. It's but yeah, Luca was cool. Uh Luca was Numenera character. Very first time I ever played Numenera. And me being as on brand as I wanted to be, made a swift glaive who housed the moon.
I woos in the chat.
I woos in the comments, I guess. Uh his birth name was 539. Number 539. And he adopted the name Lee because there were 2 other L names, and I thought, hey, let me just go ahead and pick an L name.
Coincidentally, 2 other L names in this one shot that we had.
Yeah, I was literally okay with going in as like 539. And he is definitely a broken character, very inspired by Underworld Rise of the Lycans, where he was just like a guard for a family that was doing evil shit.
Damn, bitch.
Raising dimensional shifting werewolves for guard purposes, throwing bodies in the sewers and shit.
Oof.
He's definitely a character that I want to revisit, and I really want us to finish that campaign with, or that adventure with.
Of course.
But that was your only experience with Artificer. Interesting.
Yeah,
I have played an Artificer on Open for Adventure. Her name is Celeste.
Yes, I remember that.
And she's got a rose gold direwolf companion that she built. It's a construct. But that's actually an NPC that was in a campaign that I was running for Camille.does D&D and Introverted Entropy.
See, I would love a fleshed out official D&D 5e because I actually do really enjoy the mechanics of it. Just this kind of like I like to make shit character.
Yeah.
But it's play test until I don't even know if they have official plans to the artifact.
They want to release it for Eberron, but
yeah, I would love to see it in the Eberron release, just because I think Artificer does make a lot of sense in that setting, and that's my that's one of my dream. So I've never officially D&D'd anything outside of one shot for my boyfriend, but if I did ever D&D something, I would love to do it in the Eberron setting with dragon mark characters.
Yes.
I think that is that really appeals to me. But yeah, so No, I would love to see an updated version of the Artificer and finalized, just because I think that's a very cool character class
Yeah.
that has not received enough love.
So, any other thoughts about building characters, about OCs, about literally anything that we have talked about? Any other thoughts about any stuff? Yeah, our internet connection has been great, so great. Spectrum, you're doing a wonderful job. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag don't sponsor us unless you fix your shit.
We'll never be sponsored. Oh my goodness. Purrisar was telling me today, and this reminded me of you, of a Fortnite streamer who was sponsored by Chipotle, who has
Me.
a specific card. So whenever they go to Chipotle, they get free Chipotle because they're sponsored by Chipotle.
I would love that. I would love to be sponsored by Soylent, Spirit Hoods, and Chipotle, and
No, and
and Whataburger.
I told them the story about how you received free Soylent swag.
I did receive free Soylent swag. I am very drunk.
Because you did well in school. You were a good boy. You made all A's.
No, I did not.
Okay, well, you did well in school, and Soylent gave you free swag.
They did. But yeah, is there any other things that you want to talk about with character creation and everything? I know it's getting late. I know our connection buffer, we suffer.
Yeah, we'll eventually figure out the perfect system for this.
We'll figure it out, and then
Just
we'll talk about it.
We love talking about it, and the chances that we meet in person are few and far in between.
Mostly far.
Unfortunately, I cry.
Oh.
But until then, we'll figure out a perfect through the internet system, which optimizes video and audio. But character creation wise, shit, Jesus, son of a bitch. Sorry, everyone.
In my Christian podcast.
To all people named Christian out there, I'm so sorry for the language. This is a Christian-friendly stream for all people named Christian. Everyone else, get the fuck out. But character creation-wise, geez, I'm trying to think, but I'm drawing blanks. What about you, Connor? You got anything? Any lingering thoughts?
Dragonborns, Bay. Shifters, Bay.
Oh my god.
Werewolves, always Bay.
You know what, Connor? I don't know how shocking this is to you, but I've never made a Dragonborn character.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've made a gold dragon character. That's pretty close.
Okay, I made a character who was originally a dragon. I've never made a character who has actually been Dragonborn.
See, I didn't make one until Jaharth, I think. No, I didn't make one until Rogar, but then I brought it back for Jaharth. Then I brought it back again for Jaharth, and then for Blake.
It's nothing personal against Dragonborn. I've never just been drawn to a story that included a Dragonborn.
I've never played a halfling or a gnome.
Oh my god, and that's my brand, Connor!
I've played a dwarf, but it was only because it was randomly generated.
Alright, well, my challenge for you is to create a halfling or gnome character. because I promise you, it's a good time. I love it.
Sounds fake, but okay.
I love short, happy races. What's
like-
your challenge for me, Connor?
Shit. So yeah, we are cutting out real bad, but hopefully Kylen knows that I want her to enjoy her character that I want to run through the streets of not Waterdeep, but Iman.
Oh, so you want me to enjoy my warlock character?
Yeah, that.
Okay, I'll try. I'm building a different brand of warlock than I did for our Curse of Strahd, which not to say I didn't enjoy playing that warlock, but I enjoyed more of the out of combat aspects and the end of the combat.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of in combat stuff that you could do with that particular subclass, in my opinion. But that was also playtest content. So yeah, we certainly talked about it.
We talked about it with some technical difficulties in between, some alcohol difficulties in between.
This is just not conducive for doing podcasts, but we are certainly trying. We are trying our best.
And we'll iron out the in between production and the official release.
I will try. I will see how much time I have.
Well, okay, we'll try and iron out some of the kinks, and then maybe next time we'll have a better system of delivering.
Next time we'll try Zoom.
Yes, a better connection between me and better connection to you.
Woo! So yeah, anything you want to plug?
Oh, geez, I don't do much outside of the Twitters where you can find me at KyleWithAnN. Really, the only streaming content I'm on now, outside of the occasional Overwatch stream I do with you on your channel, is on Pro Research channel. I do a D&D 5e campaign called Dragon Knights. We are approaching the end of that, but that's the only thing so far. May get involved with things in the future, but we'll see. My schedule's crazy hectic, but those are the places where you can best find me. Twitter is the best option.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, they're already here.
Hey, you found it!
You found me!
You found the Declaration of Independence.
I'll find your Declaration of Independence.
Oh, baby, let's talk about it.
Let's not talk about that. The Nicolas Cage memes aside, thank y'all so much for joining us through this. I hope this was edited in a way that was conducive for you and your listening pleasure. Like I said, or like Kylen said, because I didn't say it much. Because me, who really doesn't want to edit this, is probably not going to do a good job of splicing out the bad parts of this.
Oh, I'm going to hound him about it.
You really are.
I'm that bitch.
Fuck, what was I about to say?
You plug.
They already found me. What the fuck do I have to plug?
Oh, just go through
Pro
the motions.
Restarter, Indoor Adventurer, open for adventure sometimes.
Oh, you're too drunk to plug.
I can't plug that. Can't talk about that. I hope that this has been a good listening pleasure for you all. Hopefully this has been edited in a way that you can enjoy it. Follow me on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube, don't ring the bell because I don't want y'all to be notified after Twitch. I don't want to clog your notifications, but follows and subscriptions are appreciated. if this,
Thank you, babies.
thank you, BBs. But yeah, I think that's it. Shit, I'm very drunk. Sorry.
We appreciate all of you who decide to listen to this shit show. Very much for sticking around while we decide to clap emoji talk about it. So take care, see you around.
Stay safe. We're just laughing silently now.
See, you could tell whenever the stream ends, whenever we've completely lost our minds.